Hey Mama, my name is Jocelyn Hillam, and I hope that as you listen to these podcasts that they are making a difference. There have been some events lately in the world that has made me realize how much of a difference a person can make. And I hope that even though my difference feels small when it comes to numbers or the amount of people that buy my course, I hope that for a few of you I have made a difference, that I have helped your pregnancy to be better, that I have helped you to be able to find the mindset tools, tips, and exercises to help you to have a more positive pregnancy. Mama, I'm cheering for you, and I know that your Heavenly Father is also cheering for you. This is a special and a sacred season, and we have to choose to look at it that way. So as we go throughout these episodes, I hope that you feel help from the divine and that you are watched over in this season, because you are. He loves you and he cares for you and your baby. Let's jump into today's episode. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5 and host of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find the positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Let's find positivity during our pregnancies and in our motherhood together. Thanks for joining. Your baby is growing. In some of the research I did for this episode, one of them said that around 20 weeks, your baby only had like 2% body fat. Now they're up to like 10 or 15%, which is awesome and what is supposed to be happening. Your baby's body is now making enough surfactant that will allow them to breathe air at birth. And that is a pretty big milestone. In fact, around 35 weeks, babies born at this time are usually pretty healthy and may not need other help. Like they may not have to go to the NICU. So I guess it does depend on if you have complications or if things are going well. But if your baby just happens to come this early, chances are she or he could be just fine and not need any neonatal intensive care, which is really cool and really exciting that if you go into labor, the chances of your baby being healthy and able to go home are higher. So congratulations making it this far. It is amazing. Your baby is around 5.5 pounds. Now this is give or take. Some babies are smaller. Some women just have smaller babies and some women have bigger babies. So it could be on either end of the spectrum, but that is kind of an average. They are around 20 inches long and the size of a honeydew melon. Now, the sites that I reference and usually do a lot of my research from are from Mama Natural and Bridget Tyler, and their references and resources are in the show notes. Something pretty cool is the lanugo, which is the hair that keeps the baby warm inside of the womb, is almost gone. And they are getting covered in vernix. So vernix is like the stuff that is covering the baby when they're born. Some babies have a lot of vernix and some have a little. And they've actually come out with research that it is good for the baby to just absorb the vernix into their skin after birth. So what I'm going to tell you now is actually something that will be good to know after the birth of your baby, because some moms just kind of think it's gross that your baby has some of that vernix. They want to wash it off, get it off. But it's actually healthy to rub it into their skin. It is good bacteria that helps build their immunities from birth and from the birth canal. Most hospitals and places now encourage you to wait 24 hours before a bath, but you can wait even longer. Bridget Tyler said that she waits a full week and just sponge baths her baby as she feels needs it. So those are some interesting things, especially if you feel like you just want your baby to be clean. It is actually good for them to have that stuff on their skin. So keep that in mind, and that if you are clean freak, it's going to probably be at least 24 hours before they bath your baby, or that's what the average hospital does now, or birthing center. So keep that in mind. That is coming, Mama, coming so soon. For you, you may be feeling some of those Braxton Hicks. I have mentioned this in a past podcast, but Braxton Hicks are basically practice contractions. And they're just that, practice, false labor, not really, your body's not really in labor. Now, for first-time moms, though, they can feel these and feel like they are in labor. But there's a few differences between Braxton Hicks and real contractions. So Braxton Hicks tend to slow down, and they can actually stop if you rest or take a drink or something like that. They can slow down and stop. So if your contractions are slowing down or stopping when you're not as active, then they're probably Braxton Hicks. Now, some moms get Braxton Hicks early, and some moms don't get Braxton Hicks at all. So it just varies by individual, but these are things that you could be experiencing. What is a contraction? This is like, I didn't know what a contraction was. In fact, my first baby pregnancy ended in an emergency C-section. I never felt a contraction. So by the time my second baby was born, I didn't really know what contractions were, and I got induced. And those contractions, basically, I'm taking a long time to answer my own question. A contraction is basically cramps on steroids, or at least that's my definition of what a contraction is. It's like a menstrual tightening cramp that really can be intense. And that's more or less what a contraction feels like. Now, the nice thing about contractions is they don't last forever. They usually only last up to a minute. And so when I've tried to go natural with my last couple babies, that was one of my positive things I told myself was, this is only a minute. I can do this for a minute. I can breathe for a minute or whatever to get through it. So the Braxton Hicks are going to feel like that tightening, that little, like, almost like cramping. The thing about false labor or Braxton Hicks as well is that it is not opening up the cervix. It's just practice contractions. Now, if you're in true labor, the contractions do not stop. Even if you try to rest, even if you drink water, they just keep going, and they progressively get stronger over time. Usually your contractions go several hours. I know that if you feel a few, you're like, oh, I need to go to the hospital, but birth usually, especially for first-time moms, takes longer. Now, if you're not a first-time mom, this may actually be quicker because as you've had more babies, your body sometimes brings those babies into the world a little faster. It's like it knows what to do now. But nonetheless, that true labor is going to be consistent contractions, and they do open up your cervix. It does change how your cervix is opening. That's what the real contractions do. So those are a couple of things to keep on your radar if you are feeling contractions, and whether or not you're in true labor or like a false labor. Something to start thinking about or even acting on, actually I would encourage you to act on this, is to make a few freezer meals. Maybe when you're cooking in the evening, just double a batch and put one in the freezer. Having a few meals that you don't have to cook postpartum when you're trying to heal, when you're trying to figure out nursing a baby, when you're trying to figure out lack of sleep and juggling all the other things with children and husbands and just thinking about it all, having less food to cook is actually a nice relief. So do a few freezer meals. I can't remember if I mentioned this last week, but also pack a hospital bag or start thinking about what to pack in your hospital bag. I tended to be a procrastinator when it came to the hospital bag. But don't forget a razor, like to shave your legs. I did that once and I cried about it for an hour. Okay, maybe not an hour, but at least 20 minutes in the shower. I really just wanted my legs and my armpits to be smooth, and I had forgotten my razor. So there's a tip for the hospital bag. There's lots of resources out there on hospital bags and what to take. So that's my main suggestion. And then the other thing I would say actually is a robe that you like. Like, they provide hospital gowns, but they're not the most flattering. They're not the most comfortable. And have like a robe or some clothes that you want to wear. You don't have to wear the hospital gown the whole time. My first birth, like, that wasn't the emergency C-section, I thought I was supposed to wear the gown the whole time. And then after that, I learned, like, I could put a shirt on if I wanted. And so for some of my other births, I did bring some other clothes to put on because I just didn't like wearing the hospital gown the whole weekend, or whenever your baby is due, weekend. On this podcast, I really like to encourage positivity, positive thoughts, dealing with the negativity, and tips to be able to do that. There are so many out there, but this one is so simple but so important, and this is going to be vital for the rest of your weeks of this pregnancy, is your breath. Is it hard for you to breathe? Now, there's a couple reasons that it's hard for you. Of course, you've got a baby in there, but as the weeks go on, your baby is going to drop and it'll make it easier to breathe. As it gets easier, though, there may be other stressors that may make it feel hard to breathe. There may be anxiousness over birth, worry or stress or overwhelm with all the things that come with having a new baby. Fear over having the responsibility of a human life, a baby, your posterity to take care of. It can feel kind of heavy, and it can feel a little intimidating and scary at times. That is when I want to encourage you to go back to your breath. Slow yourself down. Don't allow yourself to think about anything else but breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. And sometimes it is helpful to say, breathe in, breathe out, because then it allows your mind to just focus on that. This allows you to slow down. And as you slow down, it's easier to get rid of those negative emotions and to clearly think through them rather than trying to get through them in a panicked, fearful frenzy. So breathe, mama. In slowly, out slowly. In, out. And do this for 5, 6, 10 breaths until you can slow down that worry, that fear, and that anxiety. Breathing is important. Sometimes it can help to count while you breathe. In, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. And then try and do in for 4 and out for 7. Change it up, but make your breaths deep and think about breathing and nothing else. This is a simple tip. It is simple because it doesn't take a lot to do other than intentionality and concentration. But you can do it, and you can find out that it will help you to slow down those negative emotions and to be able to rationally think about the things that you are dealing with. I am cheering for you. As I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, God is cheering for you. And you know what? Do you know who is going to make the difference in this world? It is you, mama. It is you in raising your children and implementing these things to be more positive during this pregnancy and to love that child that you are going to bring into this world. You can do it. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts and becoming the mother that you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. Thanks for joining. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward in your motherhood. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.